Everybody, what's happening? This is Jazz Daily. That's my. He said I'm supposed to be his sidekick today. That's my boy Mental. We're
Spiritual
gonna kick.
brother, not sidekick. Spiritual
That's
brother.
right. I'm just saying what you were saying before we went live. Yeah.
Hey, personal
But
conversation.
yeah, hey, but this is my spiritual brother. This Mental, and we got a special guest coming today. We're just waiting for her to arrive. We're gonna go down the road of the spirituality, kick some metaphysics, and I hope you enjoy yourself. If you're watching, make sure that you like, you share, subscribe. It doesn't do anything but to click the bell if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, share it anyways. We just love getting the word out. So, Mental, without any further ado, we go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Oh, well, you already know. Mental, author of Overstanding Darkness. I do poetry. I do hip hop. Everything's the same thing, all in the same genre. Everything's around the same. What's up? What's up? What's up, Mr. Sneak? So everything's around the same thing. We just here right now. For me, I've been in the game a while. I started off with Christianity, Catholic, Muslim. You know what I'm saying? And then I went over to the east, to the Far East, and started getting into stuff. But once I started getting to that Egyptian, that's when I started breaking barriers and actually coming into that real knowledge of self. Brought me around, reading book after book. I had a fever for it. So now, boom, here I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
At one point, I didn't even think we existed, Jazzy. Someone that just wanted to know beyond what other people. So it kind of puts us in that inner world and not of it, because we're doing things that most people ain't even thinking about, more or less taking out time out of
that's
their
it.
day to do.
So, to elaborate on basically what he said, basically, I'm the student, and he's a master teacher. He don't like to
We're
go
all
ahead and take that
students.
credit.
Stop it. We're all students. Stop it. We're all students
Hey,
in this
so
game.
anyways,
Look,
anyways,
the truth is the truth. Once you get to the level of the truth, we all the same. If you can assimilate the truth and let the truth come in you, that spirit of truth teach you, we're all part of the same game. Don't get it twisted. There is
that's
no
it.
higher or lower. There's either you
That's it.
know or you don't know.
Right. Hey, he just been on me because Sunday they tried to read me, and
Oh,
so he, but it was all good. But I like to say thank you, welcome, and I also started out in Christianity. And then when my spiritual brother Mental came to talk to me, it was kind of crazy because I didn't want to hear anything that the brother had to say, and this was back in the '90s. Go ahead, baby.
Hi.
They can't hear you. I mean, you can't hear them because I got the headpiece
hopefully you can
Okay.
still hear us. Oh, go. Oh, there goes the sweet.
so,
There was the disruption in the force. The
yeah,
energy child came through.
and that's what actually happened that shifted my whole mentality about everything. I mean, when she was coming, I wasn't prepared to be a father again. After 20 years, I'm getting up in age, and then I mean, she came out woke. I mean, the stuff that she shares with me, I mean, is amazing. I mean, she knows chakras, she knows crystals, she knows
Mm.
healing. I mean, she's a very powerful child. So, I mean, and a lot of that during that 2014, 2015 is when I started to go ahead and really dig into a lot of stuff. After the late 80s and 90s, when my brother's mentor was getting into me about, but all I heard was noise. And it's just like the noise that I can explain in simpler terms is basically when you get in the car and you're trying to go through a station, and then you can hear voices in there, but you can't really hear you trying to turn a knob, and all you hear is so that's kind of like what I was hearing with him. I was like, man, I ain't got time. I heard him in the background, but I didn't hear. But then one day that truth came through, and then I was just like, boom, and then it opened my eyes. And then so actually after that, I went out and sought my brother. I was looking for him, found him. I went through my cousins. Everybody's like, yo, where's Mental? And then it came to me that spirit had came to me and told me that, what, it's time, because I was studying for a while, and it was like, now it's time for you to get with some people that know like you and that you can learn from and to keep you on your path. So I called him up and then I was like, yo, bro, I said, you ain't gonna believe this, but I heard it clear as day. Spirit was like, I need to link with you on the spirituality. And then I said I need a teacher, and then we don't really say teacher, you know what I mean? However, I needed to go ahead and get a little bit more understanding, and then plus from somebody I know and that I can trust. So what I did, I went ahead and I reached out to my brother, and he's like, "You do not need me," you know. And I was like, "Dude, I really, I'm." I started listening to lectures. I mean, everybody that was on the YouTube. I started getting books. I started listening to books at my last job, and for the last 8 years, while I was at my job out there in the country, I would tune into the whole time while I'm there, 8 hours, listen to Brother Panic the whole time. And then I started getting in more and more and more, and then everything just started open. And then it was like I was hungry for it. And then once you hear the truth, it's just like, you know, it's that part of unlearning everything that you've learned before. And that was something that was it's scary because a lot of times you feel alone. And then a lot of times what happens is that you become an outcast. So a lot of people, they don't rock with how I think or how and what I do. However, peace to you. I still love you. You do your thing, I do mine. I'm not going to stop you from doing what you feel is true with you, but I know what is true within me. So that's the difference. And that's what happened from like when I was in church and everything. I was a believer. And then the whole thing is when I started to go ahead and you can't believe in something, you have to know it. And so and this had no ceiling, and I started going back as far as I can go. And then I started to see where a lot of principles, from the teachings and everything that brought lingered over into some of the scriptures and everything. However, I found my peace with this, I mean, and the one thing I can truly say is that it works. I mean, last year at the end of the year, I was just saying things, and I was telling him it started out with just a simple book, a book that he been telling me to get for years and years. And then I was just like, yo, I'm gonna get it. I said, but you know what? I really didn't want to spend all the money that it was for it. So, and then he's like, nigga, I'll just buy you the book. So I was like, okay. And then so he ordered the book. It came to him after he went and tried to find it, and the nigga kept the book to himself.
Wow. I hope that's not the end of the story.
That's not no, but I said it's okay. He said no. I'm just reading. I knew once he get it in his hands how he was going to be because he dissect every book that comes his way. So I was like, I'm not going to get the book. He said no. I'm gonna buy you another one. Oh, we'll continue this at another time. We got our guests.
Yes.
Greetings.
Hello, hello, hello.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings. So you
Finally.
have to tell us how you like to pronounce your name and what do you go
My name is pronounced Shalir. I go by Sunshine.
Shalir.
by? Okay.
All right. Before you get started, Miss Shalir, I just want to say, Brother Archer, Mr. Legend says, as I just said, forever a student over here, meaning he's a student too.
That's right,
We
Likewise.
all
bro.
students, bro. As long as I'm in the physical, I can't be nothing else but a student to the Most High.
Yes. Yes.
Miss
Yes.
Dave and Miss Visa said, hey, fellas, and we hear you loud and clear. All
Yes,
right, let's get back to the main feature.
So
Miss
would you rather us? You said you
oh,
go by sunshines.
I do.
So we
Sunshine.
always pronounce women as Miss. So you be Miss or Sister Sunshine to us. Okay.
Okay. That,
So
that
I'm Jazz, as you know. That's my spiritual brother, Mental, and this is our podcast, Overstanding Darkness. And I was just talking, killing time before you got here.
uh-huh.
But basically, what we like to do here is that we like to go ahead, let you introduce yourself. We only ask two questions, and then once we start there, Mental tell her the spirit takes in, and then it just goes from here to,
Who's on
you
its
know,
own?
so, what we like to do is ask you, how did you start your spiritual journey? And then the next, do you have any spiritual services that you provide that you like to promote?
Okay. So I guess I'll get started with the more simple one about services. I So I wouldn't want to title them spiritual services, but they indeed are, right? It's a form of transfer of energy. So I'm a beauty specialist. So I enhance beauty, I cultivate beauty, I create beauty, all within the physical, right? But that's an exchange. So it could turn into a spiritual service, or it could turn into, it being a total exclusion of the transfer of energy and a dissolution of the service. So it
Okay.
really depends on whoever I cross paths with at that
Quick
time.
question. What does beauty mean to you? Because I'm sensing it means something different to you than it means to us. So I need you to break that down. My spirit is telling me, let her break what beauty actually means. Because I know where you're going, I think. But go ahead.
Okay. So beauty is, for the seen eye, right? The physical eye is going
Mm-hmm.
to be a magnetism, right? Something that pulls or attracts. That's beauty.
Facts.
But what I work on, which I think is what you were picking up on, right, when you said I'm feeling it going somewhere else. It is the submission of learning. That's beauty, right? It's being in a state of accepting where you're at and submitting to the fact that, like you said, forever a student, right? Always committing to evolving, committing to a state of acceptance and, commitment at the same time. So that's what I help to create, cultivate, and bring out in people when I'm exchanging these services. And that does kind of segue a great way into my own spiritual journey and how I started, because I know that was the question on the board.
Mm-hmm. How you started.
How I started it, right? So as far back as I can remember, I would account the beginning to when I was maybe about 12, 11 years old. And I literally heard the wind call my name. My name is Shalir. I physically heard the wind call my name. And I was just walking, I don't know where I was going. I was just walking down the street and I heard the wind call my name. Before that, I had no other introduction to anything other than,
I gotta get back
what
on.
was physical, what I could see, what I could
How
experience.
old were you?
How old am I?
No, how old were you when the wind called your name?
I was 12. I was about
okay.
12, I think. That's
About to
just my
go through
brain.
puberty?
What's that?
About to take that next step through puberty?
Exactly.
So that opening of the gate, you see where I'm going, but go ahead.
So yeah, that's when it started. Not much developed from that, but again, me hearing that opened up my curiosity into, well, what was that? Because before that, I had never been exposed to or introduced to anything other than, like I said, what I could see with my eyes and what I could experience in the physical. So following that, the next time I was introduced to anything spiritual, religious, or outside of what I understood as myself was after I had given birth to my daughter. So I maybe was 17.
Okay. All right.
And she had a respiratory disease. She was in the hospital. She was not looking like she was going to make it. And I met this woman, and this woman said, do you want to save your child? And I said, of course. She said, well, then you have to submit to Jesus. She said, you have to say, you believe that Jesus is the Son of God. He was, to the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate. I had to say the whole thing, right? And so I'm desperate. I'm like, okay, well, I do want my child to live, so I guess I'll commit to Jesus. I don't know who this is. I don't know what it is, right? But I want my child to live. Right. So I'm gonna say it. So I said it, and my child lived. And so I thought, okay, so this must be it, right? This is the
power.
Right? This is the power. This thing has power. And so connected with her. Since then, I started my journey immediately into Christianity. Everything that I've experienced was founded in Christianity. And then obviously it went on from there, and it was.
So so do you still consider yourself a Christian now, or are you? Okay. So my next question was, where did it separate? How did it separate? Because that's the biggest thing that most of us go through. It's this separation, if we can ever separate it at all, because some can't.
Yeah. So for me, it happened about 19. I was like 19. No. Wait a minute, not 19. 29. So yeah, like 28, 29 years old. is when it kind of separated for me. Now, obviously, I'm not consistently Christian during this time, right? From
Okay.
12 to now, or from 12 to 29. There's some periods of reversion or whatever you want to call it in there. But I was consistently seeking, the spiritual or whatever since then. And so that separation happened when um, I would call myself, I was definitely an overzealous Bible thumper. I was really into it, right? And so I thought, okay, I know all the answers. I know all the things that the Bible says. So if I do what it says, it should work, right? I
Uh-huh.
experienced some sexual trauma as a child, and my worst fear was my daughter experiencing that as well, right?
Okay.
So she did. She did. Even though I did all the prayers that they said to do, I covered her in the blood of Jesus. I said, you know, this is not going to happen to her. I canceled all that, and it still happened to her. And so I said, wait a minute, something's not right, because it didn't work.
Mm.
The things that they said would work worked, right?
Did
And
not
during
work,
the
right?
time, like I said, when I was overzealous, I was really into the church. I was in the choir. I was, the whole thing, fully committed, right? Every single Sunday. And at that time, the one prayer that I felt was like my core prayer, right? Because we have the prayer for things that we want. We have the prayer for things that, we think we want for other people. And then we have those core prayers that it's like, God can't say no to this, right? Protecting my child. This is assuring, right? Like this is, assuring,
Mm-hmm.
definitely gonna happen. And when it didn't, or at least, as far as I understood, I just was like, oh, this is fake. It's not real. And so I ventured off, and I went off into the first other religion that I would say I went down the rabbit hole in was the Muslim culture.
Okay.
And then I wasn't disciplined enough to adapt that, right? And so I went on to Buddhism, which was easier, right? Well, Buddhism
Buddhism, yeah.
is a religion, right? I went into
Been
the
there.
way of
I
life.
love Buddhism though.
Right. But I found quickly it wasn't a religion. It wasn't necessarily something that
Right.
Christianity, like
Right. It was a little
I said,
different.
yeah, it's different. It's not really a religion. So I said, okay, well, I guess that doesn't work for me. But when I found Buddhism, I did find self. And that was the explosion. That was when my mind
Mm.
opened up. And I said, oh, okay, so it's not out, it's in. That
Right.
was the
That's the
switch then,
key. And that's the key.
right? And so Buddhism brought me in, right? But then when I went in, all I found was darkness. And I'm like, okay, so there's no way that this is the end that they're talking about, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm still looking. And I found Almonism. Well, before that, I found Mormonism. And
Okay.
for some reason, I could not, whenever I was supposed to go say the commitment and the decree into the religion, something always came up and I never made it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Mormonism I was okay with it. It was making sense because the service is not like any other, right? Their
Mm-hmm.
Sunday service, you're sitting at a round table with all the leaders and it's a discussion. You got your Bible open, you got a notepad, and it's a conversation. You're literally consulting with the pastor or the leader of that
Mm-hmm.
conversation. So I said, well, this seems like it would be the right way to do anything, right? You're supposed to be leading, teaching. We should be at a table, right? So that one was, interesting to me enough, but I never made the commitment. And so, I counted that to the fact that I wasn't supposed to. And then Omonism. I found Omonism when I literally did a web search on what does it mean when you believe that all religions are right. I'm like, what is that? There's got to be something that says there's no ultimate religion, but they all are correct in the fact that they are pieces to the puzzle to the great understanding of all.
Now, Jazzy, does that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
I used to say that all the time. No, I
Me too.
believe in all
Me
the
too.
religions. All of them
I
got
just
a
Me
little
too.
truth in them. All of
I've
them.
been through a few
You
now.
know, and
I'm not
that's
one to say that I just canceled out one because they had a rule I didn't like. No,
Right.
I was genuinely searching for truth, right? And I ended up saying, okay, well, to me, subscribing to anything in particular would be a disservice to what I do believe and what I've learned, right? Because once your mind expands past a closed-minded
Mind
religion,
expansion, facts,
you
open-ended
can
mind. She's talking the book of knowledge now. Go ahead, because you
so
talking
there's no way
stuff
to go
we've
back.
already talked about.
Okay. Okay,
When
so
you said mind expansion, opening up your mind must be open ended, like the universe is open ended and the spirit is open ended. That's part of the infinite and the eternal. That's part
yeah,
of the
that's
keys
where I
that
ended
get
up.
us. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're good. That's good. That's where I ended up at. And I said, all right, well, I'm here. So I don't completely disown or separate myself from any of my journeys, or, I just
Facts.
do not subscribe and say, oh, I'm Christian or I'm Buddhist or I'm Omnist or I'm any of that, because
Or
it's
you could just
all,
say the other.
in,
I'm all of that.
I'm all of
All of
that.
that is part of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything I can see, think, smell, touch, or taste is all a part of me. And there's a part of me that I can't see, hear, touch, or taste, or feel. That's even better. But most people never get to that part of us, that inner us, that when we feel it, like Jazzy said, I'm never going back.
Yeah,
I'm
you
never
can't,
going
right?
back.
How
You
can
can't,
you? How
after your
can you?
mind
I've
expands
tried.
to a certain, you can't really, you, you just be like literally just spiritually dying
Yeah,
because you're not growing anymore.
yeah.
So that's
And you're
that I
so
do.
aware. So it's more so like you are you're just aware of the fact that
Hmm.
you're pretending. You're just aware of the fact that you're just going with the flow. You know that it's not actually ringing true to your core. You're just like, well, what else can I, what else is there to do? Everybody doing
How
it.
how how did you handle that loneliness part? Where
Mm,
after you there, that I mean, we all face that part where it's just like, wow, I feel like I'm all alone, and then you start to see little speckles of light and people that start
yeah.
connecting the dots, and you like, hey, I'm not alone. But how did you handle that?
So what I realized is that the feeling of aloneness, or feeling like I'm alone in this, is actually just your id. It's your
Hmm.
ID. It's your super ego trying to associate itself with something. And
Hmm.
that's just the natural form of survival, right? That's your brain trying to connect and identify with something. So how do you deal with identification, right? You acknowledge the fact that in this mind, in this body, in the physical, you're trying to connect to, you're trying to identify with something.
Hmm.
And that's all that is. It's
Hmm.
normal, right? Or it's expected. You're not, it's not intended to drive you to make an action, to support it. It's intended to remind you that you're still in the physical. You're going to want to
Hmm.
connect.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Hmm.
Facts.
Um, so yeah, I guess once it presented itself to me, I informed it what it was, and let it know that, oh, you're just this. You'll be fine. You're
You know
just
what I
So
really like
Miss
about you?
Visa said, hold that thought. Miss Visa said when you were talking about what happened to you and your daughter, generational trauma.
Mm.
Do
yeah,
you know? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we can get into epigenetics, and we can get into how it's literally coded into us,
Uh-huh.
but um we can label it generational.
But and that was just one of the things. But there's
Yeah.
the ways once you open up yourself the way you have. I don't know if you've ever heard it saying that once you become spiritual in your family, you save seven generations before and seven generations after.
Oh no, I've never heard that.
You never heard that? Because now, once you tap into the infinite and the eternal and you get on a spiritual plane, your ancestors can feed off the same energy. They can know because and you're in the physical. Think of the energy now and the power I'm talking about. It has nothing to do with what we can do out here. It has everything to do and how we affect our ancestors and those that passed before us.
You know what? I want to say this. I really like the way that you, on your journey, you didn't give up. You didn't stop. You tried. You had an open mind. You didn't just close mind and be like, oh, that's devil stuff, or this, or you know what, or heaven or hell. You know what I mean? You went from each stage to go ahead and learn something about it so you could see if it was right for you. And I think that's what a lot of people need to do, is really do some soul, that's soul searching right there.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
easy to listen to somebody and say, oh yeah, okay, I'm a follow, but to actually go out on your own outside and say, you know what, no matter what, I'm doing this for me and my child, that I'm
Facts.
willing to put my life on the line to go ahead and find out what is really real for me. And that's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
admire you for that.
That takes
Thank you. I
strength,
appreciate
inner
that.
strength.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to mislead in saying that I didn't go through that phase of this has got to be rebellion. I'm definitely going to hell for this. I did. I did. Like I said, I was Christian. I was devout, or at least I thought I was. I was sold out, and so no, I did go through that. I did go through a season where I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to hell. I'm definitely in a
Mhm.
handbasket because this is demonic." You know, according to
Uh-huh.
what they were teaching me, this has
Well,
got to be demonic.
Miss
So
Sneed said that's dope because yes, it happens. Mr. Archer said yes. As you were saying, of course, there's no doubt. These are the things that we fight through. Um,
Mhm.
Miss Sneed also said, "Girl, we all did." Yeah, this is
yeah,
certain
yeah,
things that are common for everyone that has achieved some type of spiritualism. You're gonna be a lonely at one point. You're gonna be an
Mhm.
outcast at one point. You're gonna be a devil at one
no,
point
I was a
to
witch. They
your
called me a
family and
witch.
friends.
Like they outright called me a witch in the middle of church
Yes,
service and everything.
I
Somebody
believe you.
came.
Mm. We
I
was on
said,
a lot of posts together where we was going back and forth, and
uh
then
huh.
I was saying something that you had my back, and then you were saying something I had your back, but it was like all Christians that was like trying to either gang up on
I'm
you or
telling
they's trying to
you,
gang up on me, and that's how we kind of got. Because I was like,
and I
whoa,
get
it's
it.
another
I get it
But you
because
know,
somebody else.
you know what it is. A lot of the Christian, in my experience, a lot of it is fear based anyway.
Mhm.
facts,
So you know when
It's
you
all
when
fear
you
based.
all of it.
seemingly attack something that's fear based, everybody's coming to defend it. When
Mhm.
even though in the word it says don't defend the word, you'll need to defend the word. Don't argue the word. It's still like you know they're fearful. You're coming for
Well,
something that is like you
And,
know
my
they're
and you
issue
know,
is when you talk to them on their level. You should be able to talk to anyone on their level. If you're Muslim, I should be able to talk about the Quran if I know the Quran. If you
exactly
Catholic, I should be able to talk about the Bible if I know the Bible. But when I
Mhm.
quote the Bible
yeah
verbatim
uh-huh
for what it says,
uh-huh
and then you push back was like, no, that's not
no
what it
that's
means.
not
I'm not
right
quite understand. Then I asked, well, do you pray? Do you worship Jesus or is it
mm-hmm
James? Or is
uh-huh
it Luke? Or is it Philip? So which one are we? Because Jesus said this, but other people came behind him, John, or not John, but Paul came
uh-huh
behind him and said all this other stuff.
yeah
And
they
we
love
go through the Bible word and say, well, what's going on? Who do you believe? What are we talking about?
mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, what I like to do is I just like to meet everybody where they at. But I want
Mhm.
you to be real with where you're at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
And
most
I mean, I
people,
think the most beautiful thing about it all, anyways, is that, you know, as much as people want to say that things are pre-written or whatever, right? You're choosing to create whatever you want. So if you
facts.
create a
Mhm.
heaven for yourself, you will indeed go to heaven. If you create a hell for yourself, guess what? That's where you're going because it takes your brain about another 7 minutes to die after you die. So whatever you got on your heart, you're going to spend those 7 minutes pondering that
Boom.
and
Mm.
that's eternity for you because after that you don't know, so that's the rest of your physical
And see,
consciousness.
that's the fear part. What they do is like, so if you don't know, wouldn't you rather be safe and knowing that this? That's the wording that is always to go ahead and get
Mhm.
you still be in a fearful state. You
Yeah,
know, so I've heard that too. You know, one thing that I do like about what you know, you give them scholarship every time. Is one of them that come in and like attack, and you give them, you know, where they can go find it. You know what I'm saying? You tell them that if they
Nothing
don't
more
want
you
to
can do
listen,
than that.
she gives them scholarship, and that is admirable because you know that's the whole thing. Is just like, okay, now where do we go from here? After
right.
you
Right.
see it and I see it and we
Hmm.
both see it, okay, now the truth is truth, you know, so now where do we go? So and it kind of like, you know, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it and
Well,
I
you
enjoy
got
it.
to remember, it's always going to be based at what stage of consciousness are they at.
Hmm.
At a certain stage in the heart chakra, you move from belief into knowing
Yeah.
Hmm.
as your heart opens up. People don't realize the heart chakra is a consciousness, it's
Hmm.
alive.
Hmm.
It's going to help you move to the next level of higher consciousness only when your ability to love is correct. Okay. So
Yeah.
what? And it affects the mind because now you're seeing things. When you look at some and you see, I don't like fighting, MMA, boxing. Yes,
Yeah.
I've
I don't
watched it,
understand.
but
Yeah.
it's not something that I like this to watch or
Me
see
either.
only because of the low frequency of just fighting.
Yeah. It's
You know what
animation.
I'm saying? Beating
It's,
up on each other.
yeah. Yeah.
The only reason why I stay any kind of part of it is because my nephew was MMA. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason I watch when
And
only
there's
when he
nothing
fought.
wrong with it. I'm not
But I don't
saying that.
like it though. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
don't
like
like
you
it
said,
when I
after a
see
while,
women
you realize you're
box.
like,
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
yeah.
I hate
No, I'm
that. Now,
saying that.
men, I can see beating up each other, but women, I don't think there's for me,
Mhm.
there's not much joy in that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you that when you doing your hair and you doing in the art of beauty and how you go ahead, um, is there any spiritual connections that you do? Is it
I have, yeah.
spiritual for you? I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Of course. Like I said, most
just,
of it is well, not most of it, all of it is transfer of energy, right?
mhm,
And whether
Fact.
it's open or not, I'm always protected. So, but yeah, so and I'm able to meet people where they are mental. I like that you said that
mhm,
because I've had an engaging spiritual experience with a Christian woman, and we both were singing and praying and singing. And I don't know what it did for her, but for
uh-oh.
Oh, ain't that
She
something?
probably she probably got a
Right
phone
when she was
call.
getting in good. Oh, yeah, I bet that's what it
Because
should be
that's what
right
happened
back,
to
yo.
me. I had to go back and put focus, to block my calls and stuff because that's exactly what happened.
Well,
So,
why we're saying Mr. Archer was like, lonely is the hero's journey. Facts. I think
hmm,
that's a book too, The Hero's
yeah,
Journey.
yeah,
When the
yeah.
chaos, when you choose the road less traveled. He also said
Hmm.
that the mind, it's the mind of the soul, the heart that is right. Facts. Because that's how
Hmm.
you're gonna eventually uh enlighten yourself and bring yourself to higher planes. It's through love. I can't stress it enough. Love
Hmm.
is the only tool that gets you to higher evolution, but it's
Hmm.
hard to do in a world that lacks love. But really the love comes from you. It's on the inner you. Capital love that doesn't require anything in return.
Hmm.
Love of a father and a son, a mother and a daughter, a father and a daughter, whatever. That type love that requires nothing. But that's how you
Hmm.
have to love everyone or have the ability or the capacity to do that.
Hmm.
Because say if one day you make a planet, because this is our destiny, creating planets, solar systems, galaxies, universes. We're down here just learning how it feels to be human. So when we create one, we have a better understanding of what's going on. Everything is for a purpose. We get caught up in the physical and we just think this physical, that no. There's other worlds that we should be connected to. If we weren't in a desolation of isolation because of the negative energy, we'd be connected to other. If our parents or our guardians, our Elohims didn't fall, we'd be in a whole nother realm because we'd experience telecommunication, multiple sun systems. Where do you go when you die? You go where the how you use your love and light in this realm will propel you to your next duty station or your higher evolution.
So it's. I always say to you, I was like, you know what? What's weird is like it's not weird. It's we're in a world but not of it, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so we're already not of this world right here. Then we'll go on to our phone and go into a whole nother world. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like if you're not getting something that's gonna feed you from that, you know what I'm saying? You're just wasting your time.
Well, unfortunately, that's where we're at. I mean, in this realm, I was
I
talking to
mean,
somebody
everything to
the
take
other
you away
day
from
that was
self.
like, when is the last time you've read a book that didn't have anything to do with your job or getting paid after college? Or after you've done you got your degree or you're working satisfied. And most people they don't. They think we stop the even possibility of knowing because we think we know so much when we know
Hmm.
nothing. even when we know something we don't know much,
Mhm.
because everything is infinite and eternal when you start opening it up and getting smaller and smaller or bigger and bigger. Any
Bigger and
way you want
bigger.
to go,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
either
That's
way you want to go. Well,
mhm.
I'm hoping she gonna come back. Look like she got cut off. Ain't
She
no
might have,
telling what's going on.
but I think she did say that she had
About
a
30 minutes,
couple,
yeah.
yeah, in a couple interviews. So maybe she got disconnected
She
and
got
she realized.
disconnected. Tenfold.
But you know what? It's always a pleasure. And oh, let me just finish. I can finish about me now, then, right?
Go ahead.
Okay, so basically, I left off where I was saying as far as that. I found out that this really works, and then I mean, like I've been Christian, I've tried Baptist, I've tried. I mean, I've expanded in all of the organized, religions, and I've read up on a lot of them. I didn't actively participate as Miss Sunshine did, however, but I did go outside my own comfort zone to go ahead. That's the only way I can find truth for myself. So after I didn't get the book, so he was like, he said, I'm gonna order you one. I'm gonna order you one. So at that time, this is a rare book. So when he went to go order it the next time, what happened? It went up like $100, and then it was
No,
just
it
like,
went up like $200.
so he was like, Jazzy, I'm gonna get it. I'm just waiting for it to come down. All he had to do was give me the book in the first place, right? But okay, so after that, what happened? He had ordered some cards. They normally come with the book, and then he was like, he said, I ordered some cards, but they're the wrong ones. And I was like, well, I want to get them too. He said, well, hold up, let me order this next one. So when he ordered his cards this time, guess what happened? They sent them two. So one of those is mine,
Okay.
right?
Right.
But the whole thing is, at the end of the year, what I was telling y'all, like, I started to go ahead and really start to use my throat chakra and my heart, and tune in on things that I wanted to see manifest in my life. And then actually, when I was just saying, I said, I ain't even worried about the book. You know what's gonna happen? I said, I'm gonna will that book in my life. What happened,
That's when
Mental?
you started. No, that was all the time when you started. So he went through this period of trying the spirit by the spirit. It was a whole
Hmm.
period. And I said, and I told him, I said, oh, you want to know how powerful it is? Try the spirit by the spirit. And that's all we did.
Hmm.
What, for a good month?
A good
That's
month,
all we
yeah,
talked about
for
was
a
trying
whole
the
month.
spirit by the spirit. Whatever you
Hmm.
want, whatever you need, try the spirit by the
Hmm.
spirit. If it's meant for you,
Hmm.
it's gonna come. And
Come right.
everything just started coming for me. Who bought?
Hmm.
Someone bought you the book, right?
Yeah, I got it as a gift.
As a gift. Someone else. So now he has the book and the cards.
And then on top of that, so I just started seeing everything else that I was like, no, the job that I was at, I was just like, look, I said, I'm out of here. I gave a date. I said April. It wasn't April, it was May. But I was like, I'm gonna be at this company, I'm gonna be working these hours, I'm gonna do this and do that. Why not everything that I said happen? Everything from the hours, from the pay could have been better, but I don't have to I don't have to
They can always
travel.
be better.
I don't have to travel a whole hour. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got more time in the afternoon because I was on overnights for the last 8 years. So that was one of the things. I was like, you know what? Vehicle wise, I was like, you know what? This is what I need, and look what happened.
But see, the
Vehicle,
power in it is now anytime you have a question, you try the spirit by the spirit. It's easy,
my
simple.
business with my candles. I was like,
Whatever
you
it
know
may
what?
be, you try
Eh,
by the spirit, and the spirit gonna tell you.
And it
Now, and,
happens.
and guess what? You could have always been doing it, but you just
Hmm.
didn't know the spirit language.
Hmm.
Now you starting to download what the language is. How do you
Hmm.
communicate with this infinite and eternal energy that's in
Hmm.
us?
Hmm.
And that's all you doing when you go inside. You just
Hmm.
finding your highest self. Your highest self is powerful. It's a beast. It couldn't
I
even
even
manifest itself on the physical if it wanted to because it'll destroy all this with its power. That's how powerful our higher selves, our souls are.
And you know what? I'm starting to even realize that more and more and more and more each day. I'm just like, wow, you know what? That's a lot of power. That
It's a
story
lot
right
of
there,
power.
E.
That's why I tell you, I don't really, if someone does something wrong to me, I try to think positive and not really unleash these Necronomicrons and these Damians on them. I don't want that. But, you know, you crawl, I mean, you violate, you violate. Sometimes they creep. They creep out. But I don't send them. That's my thing. My intent
See,
is not to send anything.
that's where he and I are a little bit different, because I'm like, you know what, I can't. I'm not sitting here to go ahead and my protection that I ask for is for me and my family. I'm
Mhm.
not here to go ahead and try to protect you after you're doing something to me. Spirit, handle it whichever way you feel choose to. That ain't none
Which
of
the
my
spirit is going to
business.
do anyway. But I'm
Yeah, but
just
I'm
not
just saying,
adding to anything
I'm not sitting
emotionally.
up here. Yeah, I'm just saying, me myself, I'm protected. So my thing is just like, hey, that's at your own risk. You know
You
what I'm
get what
saying?
you
You
get.
do.
I know what you're saying.
I
Even
I'm
then, because I look at people like, you know, when you have a higher advantage, when your perception is clearer, it's not foggy. When you can see by the third eye, you kind of feel sorry for people because I want them to see what's going on, even though I know it may not be for them to see. You know what I'm
no, but the
saying?
whole
But it
thing is,
doesn't stop me
everybody
from
has a
feeling
lesson.
bad.
No, so why am I stopping them from learning their lesson?
That's a fact too, though. You are correct. You
We
may
all
be
have
there
to learn.
for them to help them learn the lesson. I'm
Hey,
with you. But if that's the way the spirit is, let it be.
that's what I say. Let it be. I'm not here to go ahead and go back and forth with spirit about protecting me. No.
What I'm saying is I got some dogs on the leash, bro. They
Right.
ready. They want someone to do something so they can just test the power out. It's like a test. Everything is a science experiment to me. Everything.
Mm.
When I'm dealing with the spirit, does it work or it don't work? If it don't work, I get rid of it. If it does work, I keep it and
That's the
power it up
only
to
way
see
you're
how
going to
far we
know
can go.
yourself. That's the only way you're
Facts.
going to know yourself. I mean, it's
Facts.
trial and error with everything. I mean, everything in life is basically trial and error. You know what I'm saying? Is you have to try some things to know some things. You just
Well,
don't come out, no.
you have to believe before you can know. And I don't know if that's absolute no, because when you're young, you have no choice. You got to believe what your
Mm,
parents say. You got to believe, and some of the stuff actually keeps you out of trouble.
n-
Fire is hot.
no, you
Don't
ain't
burn yourself.
believing. You knowing what your family say. My dad came with the belt. You gonna know. And when I got
Fact, well,
older,
you
my
right.
father's like, you,
You gonna do what I
yo,
tell you to do.
hey man, listen, I'm telling you, and I thank God, the Most High, however you want to present it, for the everything that I went through in my home, because you know what, if I didn't, I wouldn't be where I am today. I could have, I could have been.
But that's the ultimate lesson. All of us go through everything so we can be right here, right now, listening, participating in this podcast right now, and any other
Mhm,
thing we do that's in the now. Because most
mhm,
people, number one, can't understand what the hell we're saying.
mhm.
Number two, don't care about what we're saying. All right. So they're too busy doing earthly things. This is why Yeshua or Jesus, if there ever was a person, said, I'm about my father's business.
Mhm.
That's spiritual business.
Standing on business, 10 toes down.
Nigga, I'm holding the truth down. The truth, no, when I'm around,
Yeah,
it can freely maneuver when I'm in the place, because I'm gonna let it out. It can do what it want to do. I'm not gonna try to hurt nobody's feelings, and I'm not even offering information that ain't asked. But don't ask me something that you don't want to know the absolute truth to, because I go
hey, you
straight
know
to the
what?
core.
I think this is a good time to go ahead and for anyone that is watching, because some people, to go ahead and say about spirit, about break down the spirit, soul, and body.
Oh, the spirit versus the soul.
Which comes first? Which comes
Well,
last?
so, a quick breakdown of the spirit versus the soul. Number one, they are not the same thing. Okay. If they were, they'd be named the same thing. They're not the same thing. Okay. The spirit, everything on earth has a spirit. a spirit body, something that's keeping it alive, making it be what it is. A dog, a bird, a tree, flower, a bee, going about what they do as a bee and a tree and a seal or a hawk or whatever. Everything has roach, everything has a spirit. A soul is a small sun, a conscious entity of darkness. When you look out there and you see 70, 95 or 93% of space, when you look out at night, is dark, empty, vast. That darkness, that's what they call it, cosmic ash. What you see is actually alive, but we don't see it as alive. We see it as emptiness. We only see the light, the suns, the supernovas, the planets, and things of that as light and being alive.
Too.
But that's consciousness too, right? Everything is in you. Your organs are conscious of each other. Your heart, your stomach, your spleen, all these things are really doing a part because the spirit operates in them. Now, the soul is a conscious state that is beyond the body, beyond the spirit. It comes from a different realm of darkness, and it collapsed itself so much when these dark realms, when the sun and in solar systems, these things are nothing but collapsed darkness. It collapsed itself so much that it breaks out into light. There you have the first beginning. That's your whole evolution, how the Big Bang and all that started. That started from darkness. Just because there's no things that we can see in darkness doesn't mean there's no consciousness.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the supreme consciousness, darkness. How do I know? You think in darkness. We were born in darkness. Every time you have a good idea, there's a light source that opens up where? In your mind, in darkness.
Even when you plant a seed.
When you plant a seed, you plant a seed in darkness so it can grow. The problem is we've been taught, programmed, trained through religion that dark is bad. Darkness is bad. It is not bad. It is the beginning. That's the only difference. It's just the beginning. In the beginning, it's
always the beginning.
No, so in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. In the beginning of what?
Darkness.
See what I'm saying? It came out of darkness. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh. That's just saying now there will be objects. We came from a realm of subjective energy. All the energy was the same energy, and it was all conscious energy. It was so conscious that it projected itself into the light and became the light, the very things it wanted to illuminate. But there was always consciousness in the darkness.
A baby being born, the same thing. A baby
being born in this triple stage of darkness. When that sperm hits the egg, no one sees it. Triple stage of darkness. That's where all the power is. And then you have, now this connects everything. Now, from this darkness, you have certain races of people on the earth that are endowed with darkness. Then you have other races that are not endowed with darkness. So the ones that aren't try to make the ones that are look like they're idiots, fools. We're hated. That's why black people with nappy hair are hated all over the earth. You ain't just got to go out of America, everywhere. Because we were the first to do anything. The first Greek, the first Roman, the first Chinese, the first Japanese, black. Don't get it twisted. Once you know, and they can't take it from you. And I can prove it. They got a Lucy, what was it, Dr. Dewicki, or one their scientist. He got a mummy from Africa, and the furthest they could date it was 1 million years back. 1 million. So what are we talking about? Christianity, a few hundred years. Shit. Certain races are only 6,000, 7,000 years old. We go way back. We've been here forever. Don't get it twisted. We've seen cycle after cycle after cycle. Go ahead, Jazzy.
The one thing about it too, the deeper they dig, the darker it gets. It's just like
you can't make it up.
Now they try to affect certain part of the timeline and go ahead and say, well, this person, this is what they would have looked like, nigga.
Well, when you're in control, you control the narrative. You can make it seem like whatever. If they had their way, everything would be whitewashed.
It's going to be the same thing with everything. Even hip hop in 100 years is going to be The same thing.
And,
Everything is going to be
listen,
everything because
the wave is already activated. The revolution is already in motion. The spirit is rising. We talked about this. If it's rising in animals, think what it's doing to us.
right.
It's just that some of us don't believe in it. If you don't believe in it, if you don't have any faith in it, faith, substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen by others, but seen by you. Once you have that evidence, that opens up your spiritual gifts. Now you can perform what quote unquote people call miracle. It ain't no miracle. It's just that you're now at a higher realm where you can take higher
Operate.
energies
Mhm.
and flow it through your body to heal someone on a lower realm. That's all that is. Ain't got nothing to do with being a miracle. But when you don't know, you don't know. Everything's a miracle.
But see, that's why I said, like, even as far as like when I was like, I still go to visit churches, like, because of respect for my family,
Well,
my
your
dad,
dad's
my
a
brother.
preacher. I mean,
Yeah, my dad, my
I
uncles, my
mean, come on.
brother, my brother. So I don't have any problem. It's not that I hate it or anything like that because I mean, some of my most memorable times, listen to choirs. I still play my bass. I played all choir music. So don't think like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying the thing is what happened is that when you, like I tell a lot of people, I was like, before the pandemic, you seen everything. You seen even people that was fake, that was acting like they was doing this and doing that. You don't see none of that no more because right now everything desires results. There's no more playtime. That's why I said, you know what? If you want me to come to your church and you this is that, come when they're healing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where people are actually being healed. If not, you're just wasting people's time.
But
Healing
see,
is
you
one of the
actually come from a church where there was real spiritual shit happening.
right.
Most churches ain't got that. Your dad was actually healing people. He actually had one of his spiritual gifts was open and operating.
And see, that's one of the biggest things that deterred me away was because there's people out there that will go ahead and that's demanding all of this money and everything and trying to go from church to church and this and that. My dad never asked for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I've
Well,
seen stuff. I've seen crippled people
well,
walk. I've
you
seen
got to
blind see.
remember it's not the religion that makes it bad. It's
That's the
the
point.
people.
Right,
It's
right.
the people that make it bad because they have their own intent and their own agenda. So,
So
I mean,
that was the biggest thing. I'm gonna tell you that right there. When I started to see that,
do
I
you
was
know
just
how
like, you
many
know what?
trillions of dollars goes to churches? Trillions. If you
Billions.
just
Yeah,
took
trillions.
1% of that, whatever you do all them churches what they make, if they just pooled their money just 1%, we'd have enough to feed, a whole state.
And then the one thing about spirituality, it's basically free. There's nobody trying to get you pay as you go. Like you'll go buy that book that's $300 because you want the knowledge. It's not something where
But the
somebody's going ahead
knowledge
and
is
is
priceless.
right,
The shit that you're
right.
getting when you get in spirituality is you
It's
can't put
not
a
the
dollar
average.
amount on it.
It's not the average books like those love novels and stuff that people like. These are the most top selling books. A lot of like Tubi stuff. You know what I'm saying? And but
Distraction.
the books that cost like we're talking about $300, $400. You know what I'm saying? That knowledge is
And
priceless.
they
I
know
mean,
most people ain't gonna pay no $300-400 for no book that they ain't going to college that they have to pass the course. They not gonna do it. So they can put all the right now, anything that anyone wants to know spiritually about the truth is right out there. Right now. You can get it. All it
hey,
requires is reading, learning, unlearning, and relearning.
you know what I want to do Sunday? You know what I want to do Sunday? I want to do something different. I mean, we can go ahead and start or end in the Book of Enoch, but
Mhm.
what I like to do is maybe we can go live, and then people can call and ask, like how I used to do. You say, Jazzy, ask me any question that you want to know about spirituality.
Yeah,
I
but
think that would be fire. I think that'd be fire.
Yeah, if
Answer.
people actually have questions, most of the ones that probably be listened to and this probably ain't got really questions, just want to hear, what's really going on as far as
It
what
don't
we're
matter.
talking about.
It
But no,
don't
I
matter.
promise you, they can have a question right now. They can put it in the comments and I'll read it off and we can talk about it. Anyone right
I,
now that's listening right now, you got any questions, put it in the comments. Now that I said this, I'm gonna have to go back because they'll have comments after after the
right.
podcast is off.
But
But I'll
I
go
think we
back
should. I think we
and
should
answer
do
those.
that because that's how like even like when my dad, I mean I learned so much stuff from my pops, man. I mean as far as like just his method, and that's kind of like with me. It's just like that's why I do the herbs and stuff, and
Mhm.
the mix the teas and the make the little capsules and everything because that didn't just come from. It's not really my dad, my grandmama. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
When I told my dad that I was doing stuff and like when they had COVID, then I put the herbs together and stuff, and then I cleared the whole house, man. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And that's not something like it's me, it's spirit coming through me. You know what I'm saying? All
Facts.
my
I
whole
know
house
exactly what you said.
my whole house, parents, everybody had COVID. I sent stuff over there, and then they was, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like I know that's why I said my thing is if you're gonna be real about something and you saying that you this, you that, or whatever, just be real about it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said invite me when there's people being healed. When people walking out being healed better than what they was, that's the hospital. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? And
believe it or not, Jazzy, what we're doing now is probably even more healing because once you heal the mind and you can bring a
that's
person back into their real state, all
because you
their
know why?
energy is right there for them.
Because you know
All of
why?
it. It's back right there. Go ahead.
What's the first law?
Everything is mental. Everything is in the
Mind
mind. You
is
bring them
all.
back into the right mind. All the energies, all their powers come back. Miss Visa said, I want to know more about the lonely process you talked about when you first come into consciousness. Well, for me, to state it real quickly, once you start going beyond what others know, started reading other books of consciousness and started spoken words that they don't understand, they kind of look at you like this nigga. First thing they're going to do is try to reject it, number one, because
Rejection.
they don't know anything about it. It's new to them.
Hmm.
So we reject the things that's new. And the next thing they're going to try is back up whatever point they had. And if they can't succeed, they kind of shun you. That's that Mike. That don't talk to him about anything. He crazy. He
That
going
happens
he going.
all the time.
That
That happens.
happens to
Oh,
all
here we
of us.
go. He
Here
like
we
listen,
go. So then
my,
it makes
my
you not want to talk about it anymore. So it kind of puts you in a predicament where you feel lonely, like, damn, I want to say this, but I can't even say that. You in a conversation, spirit is talking to you, telling you to say this, but you don't want to say it because you don't want to sound weird or crazy or
you have
whatever.
friends, family gatherings out in public,
Oh,
just public events, and then you just, just like you said, like, oh, here we go.
here
My
we
my
go.
brother, the Rev, yo, my brother, he come over and then like I'm gonna give you an example. He came over one time and he always be talking about, well, what about your ancestors and this and that or
Uh-huh.
whatever, right? So he came over and we was playing a game, and then he was like, why don't you ask your ancestors? I said, well, you know what? You don't see them standing right there.
Uh-oh. And you know what you need to tell them? Why you keep
Yo,
saying,
no,
listen, why you keep saying your
yo,
ancestors? Nigga, they your
no,
ancestors too.
no, but I'm just saying, I was
What
just
did he
pulling his
freak out?
leg.
What did he do?
Oh my God, he got quiet. I mean,
Oh, he shut up?
that's that, my brother, man. That's the thing about him. I call him the Rev because I mean, he's so on point with everything. I mean, but you can't talk about things and he's like, oh, time to go because here you go, he getting ready. So
I
I
know what
call
you're
him Rev.
saying.
So I call him the Rev just because of that. But I mean, we get in some
Well,
conversation
you
stuff, but
do realize that your ancestors are always around, especially when we talk like we're talking now, nigga.
no, right,
You
right.
got more ancestors than you
That's
think are listening.
no. I just said, but for him coming from the Holy Ghost, from the church background, when I said
Oh,
that, and
okay.
then I was like, you didn't go in my I said you ain't go in my altar room, and then, yo,
Talk to
he's
your peoples.
yeah, he got well, I got the ancestor altar, so I got things. So
Mhm.
he don't even go in that part. Yo, he wanted. I was like, it's our
Don't
people.
be
You know what I'm
scared.
saying? Yeah, but it's but the whole thing about being lonely, going back to that, is like what you were saying, mental, is just like even like when it comes down to like even family sometimes, because it's like you're going against, like with me, I was going against everything that I've learned. You know what I'm saying? So I had people on my page telling me, "Oh, you know this, you know that, or whatever," and I was like, "You don't know me as well as you think you do. That is the old me. I've changed. You know, that part of me had died,
Right.
and I've been reborn again. You know,
I
to
don't even know
something
that
different.
part.
I don't. Right? I said you asking me to go back. You know what I'm saying? That's not a part of me anymore. But the whole thing about it, you can feel lonely. I mean,
Oh
in
no,
certain
you
instances,
will feel lonely. Ain't no can.
hey,
You
and then it
will feel
seems,
lonely.
you know how many people I see that post little things in the inbox messages like, you know what, this is so hard. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when it gives me a chance because I'm like, what's so hard? And then there's like this life or this or that. Then that's when you can be effective and talk to them and stuff. You know, and that's the part of
Hmm.
healing. You
Well, you
know,
got to remember, most of the hard part is the social aspect because
the,
you're before you were in the world doing what everybody else do, thinking like everybody else, going to church like everybody else,
that
praying like
awakening,
everybody else. But
that
now you're
awakening.
learning and you know better. You're like, wait a minute, this don't represent what I thought. Wait a minute, this don't I thought I was, and now you start to learn the right way. That's that learn, relearn, and unlearn.
But see, and then
Okay,
you know what? We all have to go through a certain part. I mean, we all go through.
all of it.
I mean, it's just maybe at different experiences. However, we all go through trials, tribulations, learning lessons, however you want to say it. We all do. We just have different experiences with them.
That's
You
it.
know, that's what make us different. So it's like it's not like you better than this person or that person. You know, like you said, we're all still students, and that's the whole thing about it.
Always.
However, but you have a sense of knowing that burning desire that
No, yes, and
once you
that's key.
awaken, and it's just like
Once
my
that fire
ears.
gets going, yeah. Miss Visa said, "Did you go back and forth with your face? Did you feel conviction or fear about what you were getting yourself into?"
Of course, I did. I did at first. I mean, I remember like, and I heard Panic like for the first time, like 2013 or something like that. And then I was when I listened to him, a friend of mine, she really pushed me. You know, it's like, look, I'm gonna send you the lectures. So when I listened to him talk, all I heard was him cussing all the time, and then like real rude. And then he said, you know what, if you can't get past th- those little things, then you're missing a
Then
whole message. This is
you're
not
missing
for you. It's not
them.
even for you. And then I made myself sit there and I listened to it. And then I was like, man, I learned so much from that brother, man. I mean, I learned a lot about everything. I mean, just this whole thing about humanity, and that's the one thing he always said. He said, man, what you
Can
got to do is
can
say
you believe that when I got
humanity.
into it and I was like, brother Panic, what Necronomicron? You get into it, you may burn up. Let me see what Necronom. What do I got to do to burn up? What are the procedures of burning up? Because I'm gonna do it. I'm a scientist. You telling me I can do so? I was just the opposite. I was more of let's see what's really going on. Let's see where the power is. That's what I loved about Brother Panic. He was always about where's the power? Does it work?
And then the biggest thing, what he got me to see, that everything is in your mind. Everything.
All of it.
Everything is in your mind.
All the work.
Everything.
You don't need no
Everything
one
is in your
else.
mind.
You don't need no teacher. You don't need no intervention. You don't need no Jesus, Muhammad, Musa, Muslim, God. You don't. In fact, God is in you. I try to tell them. You would think that this would be. You would think that this would be the best thing when you go to a Christian or you go to a Muslim or you go to a Buddha and you tell them, "Do you know that Allah is in you?
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Muhammad is
Mm-hmm.
in you. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
that God is in you? Jesus is
Mm-hmm.
in you. You know Buddha
Mm-hmm.
is in you. Those are energies and power." Oh no, that You know, then they fight you on it, and you're telling them something that you would think would be the great. That'd be fabulous.
Hey, all you did was plant the seed, keep moving at that point.
And keep
Just
moving right. That's what you learn on the journey. All right, Jazzy.
because,
Yo, we've been
yeah.
getting into this, man.
Oh, you
Woo.
see my
You what? Yeah, I see.
Anubis.
Anubis. Now that's the weaponized Anubis. He ready for battle.
Yeah, I like that. I like Anubis. You want to
Hey.
say something, baby? Here,
Uh-oh.
your
Here we
hair.
go. We got the indigo child. Come down, girl.
She like her hair natural, so just forgive her for her hair right now.
What's up? Give us the word of the day. Where is the spirit? Where are we heading, my love?
So I've been doing really good. I've been doing good in swimming.
Okay.
And today, this time, I did a somersault.
Oh.
Like new.
Have you been working with your crystals? Making your
Yeah.
jewelry?
The jewelry, not so much because the stuff is in the basement and I don't know where they put it.
Oh. Okay. When
So
you
you
make
been
your
gone.
jewelry, how do you know how to put what crystal together to make it look good and be, profitable?
So what I know is that if I put like every crystal in like the order of what it means, it'll
Okay.
make it worthful. And then using those colors, I can add like other beads to it, like
Uh-huh.
tiger eyes or something like that.
Okay. I feel you. So
Like
listeners,
something
are
like
you
that.
listening to my love right here? She
I
said,
can't even.
she didn't say
Your
what she
hair is
believed.
covering me.
She said, I know. That's what she started out with. And she's a child. How many of us start out with I know instead of I believe or I think or maybe? So we can learn a lot. I know. Start saying what you know and making it be your word is your bond, putting that word and making it in the flesh.
Tell
Thank
them
you,
what we say
dear. You
about
are so
protection
cute.
and love.
Oh yeah, my dad told me to tell about what we say protection and love,
Uh-huh.
and we use this Florida water and we put it on us like if I'm going somewhere,
Does it
he'll put it
protect you?
on me.
There you go. And you know it works, right? Knowing is half the battle. Well, shit, knowing is all the battle. I'm sorry.
That's it. Knowing
Okay.
is the battle. Well, we got to
Yeah.
get ready, get off of here, baby. All right.
Well,
Okay.
thank you for coming
Tell
on,
brother
love, and
Mental.
blessing us with your spirit. Thank you.
Thank you for saying I'm so cute in the comments.
Miss Nefertari, and so adorable from Miss Visa.
Thank you.
Okay, baby.
Well, people, thank you once again. This was a great a great car talk. I mean, our guest came on and lit it up. Me and Jazzy just rode the last little bit home. Thank you for all the ones that participated, share, like. Remember, this is all about you getting you to the right place that you want to be, not to where we want you to be, where your spirit and your soul needs you to be so you can manifest for the next realm or for this realm and your babies, your family. All right. We don't own anything. We're only connecting our spirits together so we can help as many as we can as we make our journey to the next realm. Okay.
Join us Sunday at 2:00. Join us Sunday at 2
Sunday,
o'clock.
2:00. We'll be back. We're
If we
on the
don't do
Book
the
of
freestyle,
Knowledge.
we'll do the Book of Knowledge.
The
That's
keys
what we do.
of now, well, we could always change up, but we do that because the Book of Knowledge is talking about other worlds, other creations, other earthly systems, how they're run with no violence, something that you've never seen in a movie before. They can't even picture a scientific movie with no violence, where people are working together and it's interesting because they can't fathom it without it being guns and violence. But that's a whole nother story.
2 o'clock.
Once again, Jazzy,
Sunday.
finish us off, brother.
Eastern time for the people that are on the West Coast is 2:00 p.m.
Eastern time, PM.
We'd love to have you. Love to see you. If you'd like to be a guest on here, just hit us back. We'll respond. We love to have new people on. We've been trying to get um, Sister Miss Sunshine on for a long time, and I seen the young lady that is. I think she next. I got to reach out to her. She's gonna come on too. So, but thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending time with us. Please come back. Please share. Please like. Subscribe on YouTube and peace.
Check out
everybody.
Miss Visa's show. She has a bunch. She's a beast with it. She got a bunch of actual speakers that come out and do their thing. What is the name of her thing? I'm so sorry, Miss Visa.
Culturally speaking.
Thank you, Jazzy. Thank you. Make sure you
Culturally
check it
Speaking
out.
on Telegram. And then also Miss Desi.
Miss Desi, yes.
So
Sunday nights at 8, and I think
At 8
Thursdays at 8.
And
What
I
is Miss Desi's called? It's called Immersive Experience. Yes.
So, and the last thing, if you haven't gotten his Mental's book, go on Amazon, Overstanding Darkness. You'll see it. It's the only book like it. Go and support my brother. All right, and we'll see you soon.
We'll see you in Cosmic Awareness. I'm reading over it for the final draft. It's about to come out. It'll probably be out in the next, 2 to 3 months. When it goes out, you'll be the first because I will show you the printed version, where to get it. You already know. But peace, love.
Wait, Mental. You know what? I never say anything. I just thought about it. My spiritual services, Stardust Candles. If you're looking for candles, I can cut your liquor bottle. I can get you the liquor bottle ones. I got all different. I got like 60, 30 something, 40 different scents. I got colors. If you want it, hit me here. I'll ship to you. Just hit me. StardustCandles.com.
All right, people. Peace and love.
Peace.